Doom Eternal is an intense game, and at times you can be forgiven for feeling a little overwhelmed by the demon horde, especially at higher difficulties. So to make sure you're ripping and tearing in the most efficient way possible, we've got a few tips to get your slaying started. The chainsaw works a little differently in Eternal than it did in Doom 2016. In fact, it will become essential in obtaining the valuable ammunition you need to mulch enemies. You should be revving that thing much more than you did in the previous title, as now it will automatically charge to 1 pip, which is all that is needed to shred apart basic imps and soldiers, but you'll still need to find fuel out in the world if you want to bisect larger enemies like cacodemons and revenants. It took me a little while to break the 2016 habit of saving the chainsaw for larger foes, but in Eternal you should be cleaving demons at every damn opportunity. Another way to get ammo if you're short between arenas or want a few extra shells and rockets before you leave an area is to take advantage of the exploding barrels around you. Not only are they great to help you jib enemies that wander too close to them, but with the right upgrades they can also be a method of resupply. Using a combination of the thicker skin, environment, and generating barrels upgrades means that not only do the big red barrels drop munitions, but they also respawn, and with immunity to their blasts you can go around shooting and punching them to your heart's content until your pockets are brimming with bullets. It took me a while to realize, but both your frag and ice grenades exist on their own cooldowns, so you can spam both, detonating carnage and freezing blasts to your heart's content. This can be super useful in moments where you freeze a bunch of demons to give you some space, only to blow them apart with frags, or to be sure you have spares to stun any cacodemons with a shot to their mouth. After a few upgrades too, you'll be able to fire them out rapidly and get all the bonuses that come with turning imps into ice cubes or zombies into a thin red paste. Through your playthrough you'll start to find sentinel crystals that can be used to increase your health, armor and ammunition levels, but if you link them in the same skill tree you can get powerful upgrades. Some of our favourite combinations are Loot Magnet to bring all those sweet drops to you, and combining Quick Draw Belch and Belch Armor Boost to make the most of every fiery shot you unleash from your shoulders. It also means you'll get every armor shard possible, and since you're battling through a demon-infested Earth, you're going to need them. Runes also offer valuable passive upgrades as you come across them during your crusade. Now, what rune you use may rely a lot on your playstyle, but there's a few standout ones I can heartily recommend. Seek and Destroy will allow you to launch into a glory kill from further away. This is not only great to regain health, but it can grant some valuable invincibility during the animation and get you out of a sticky spot if you're cornered. Punch and Reeve means that you can fire away with Blood Punch much more safely, as you're guaranteed to get a good chunk of health back with each meaty right hook. Dazed and Confused increases the enemy's stagger state, which may not seem that valuable, but later in the game where arenas can really get hectic, you'll be glad that demon you didn't get to tear in half is still kindly waiting for you to finish it off. Personally, I'm also a fan of Chrono Strike. Using your weapon mods in midair will allow you to slow down time, which is great to assess the situation you're shortly going to be landing into, or just for maximum cool points when you land an in-air slow motion headshot on whatever soldier is below you. You'll visit it once through the story, but remember you can always go back to the Doom Fortress prison if you want to warm up, try out a new weapon build, or just practice things like movement and weapon switching without consequence. All those imps are locked up down there in the bowels of your fortress, so you may as well use them for something. Doom Eternal comes with a whole host of new movement options available to you from the outset, so be sure to utilize them. It's weird that it feels like I'm barely on the ground while playing this game, but movement is key to staying alive in Eternal. With all the enemies firing rockets, whipping energy blasts, or mobbing you with their numbers, you can get overwhelmed rather easily. As badass as the Doomslayer is, he's far from invincible, so agility is the best defense from fireballs and rocket blasts. So keep an eye out for things like monkey bars and keep dashing as soon as you're able to. And don't be afraid to use the Super Shotgun's meat hook to drag you out of the fray and towards that lone enemy. Not all perks are created equal, and some will serve you much better in the early game, especially when Praetor tokens are harder to come by. Thicker skin and frag stock-ups will allow you to shrug off barrel explosions and fling your own munitions much more frequently. And getting Item Finder as early as possible will make it much easier to find future upgrades and collectibles too. That is as long as you keep one Slayer eye on your map. It'll help you find more tokens as well as Sentinel batteries, which will then allow you to unlock more tokens and items back in your fortress. So there are a few tips to get you started in Doom Eternal. If you have any of your own, be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and we may do a follow-up with even more hints to keep you all ripping and tearing. Remember to like the video and subscribe to GameSpot for more Doom Eternal.